Hello and welcome back to the...
I don't ruin any takes at all.
Hello and welcome back to the newest episode of the PewHub Podcast. We still haven't come up with a name for it yet, so we're going to go with that. Obviously, you are joined each week by me, Rob, and obviously by the font of all knowledge that is Mike.
Good day.
And today we are joined as a guest host. Our first guest is Luke. Obviously, everyone usually knows him from Negative Airsoft. He's also the co-owner of Zedd Adventures, which ran the mall in Reading, if I'm very much mistaken. Hi, thank you for joining us.
Could you imagine if you were mistaken? We'd have to start again, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, like I've said in the post on Facebook and stuff, trying to get some comments or anything or any questions. We're talking about today what makes a good airsoft site. Obviously, Mike knows pretty much everything there is to know, and obviously Luke probably knows something. I'm not really sure. So why don't we just jump into it? And Luke, what would you consider to be, a good airsoft site?
Loads and loads of really smelly airsofters. The ones who don't brush their teeth in the morning and also smell of sweat before they're even in the door. These are the bread and butter of airsoft.
Nice. Mike, what makes a good airsoft site?
It's community, I would say, to start with, which is, I think, a polite way of what Luke was saying. It's building a community. I'm on my second site at the moment, and we've always tried to make it not feel like a business, make it feel like a club, so you make people feel like part of it. Good marshals that understand that they're not the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. People don't pay to have someone scream in their face. We push customer service skills, so you actually give people an experience. And even your regular airsofters that are every week, they're paying for an experience. Whether they realise it or not, and part of that experience is actually, a bit of good customer service. Airsofters are quite forgiving if they're looked after. They will forgive if a game doesn't work, and they will forgive if you're having an off day. If you actually look after them, but they won't forgive bad customer service.
Everyone remembers the sites they've been to where they've basically had the piss taken out of them by staff, by the customers, problems not solved. But they remember when someone made their day worthwhile. They do remember that.
Yeah.
It's easy to focus on negative things, but generally speaking, people do remember when they've had a really good day. And they've always got that one little story they can always go back on when they're talking to their airsoft mates. And they can go back to that one story that's their favourite story. They don't know it's their favourite story, but it is. And it reminds them of a good fucking day they had at airsoft. And when that sticks in your mind for the majority of your life, like it does, some of my favourite stories over 20 years old. So when that sticks in your mind, you've had a good day. And although the companies, that ran the airsoft sites that I played at when I was a kid, no longer exists for the majority, but I remember their site. I remember I had a good fucking day. So,
yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I wanted to Luke on this is he did run the mall in Reading, and I'm not just saying this because he's on here. It was probably one of the best run sites I played at, and I've played. I've been all over. I've been up to Humber Airsoft, Jail. All over Wales, like Dragon Valley, Midwells Airsoft, etc. But the mall, first of all, the customer service was on point. You actually felt like you were being looked after. But one of the key things, which some people didn't appreciate, but I really did, was a real strict adherence to things like timings, which sounds really daft. But when you're paying for a day's entertainment, you don't want to be held up for an hour by some arsehole that couldn't be bothered to chrono. So what I really liked is chrono cut off at a certain point, and I'd fallen foul where I was at the back of the queue and had to miss the first game because everyone goes to the safety brief or you don't play for the day. And if you don't do the game brief, you don't play the game, and you can't playing to your chrono. So you missed
fair about it, and even now we were fair.
No, the thing
but
is,
it was like, if you miss that brief, we've got to do it separately for you, and you're going to miss out, But one person isn't the be all end all of the airsoft day. So if you're late, you're going to have to miss on your day, because I'm not going to waste everybody else's. So yeah, it makes sense.
I was late, but I only ever done it once. And especially us driving up from Bristol, that was a real treat. It was a day out, because there is a difference between a good local site and a good site, because someone like the Mall, it was enough of a drive. We wouldn't want to go as our regular site because of the petrol and the time, but it's somewhere you kind of use as a bit more of a treat. One of the things, it was the timings were the timings, and because you knew that, actually it's one of those things which it annoys the unorganised.
Yeah,
you don't like it. You know what? I've been on sites where they've started the safety brief where instead of 9 o'clock as advertised, they've started at 10:15 because someone was running late. And that's over an hour of my time I've paid for, which is, I try to emulate that. I mean, I'm sure when you travel around, you see other people do things and you nick it. You nick bits of safety.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people, when I play down at, you can fucking edit this out because I forgot the fucking name of the place. Oh, Christ on a bike. South Coast CQB.
Yeah.
When I went down and played at South Coast CQB, it was really, it's a cool place. The staff are really nice. Everyone there is really, really nice. But it's quite a bit of a drive, and I enjoyed going there. It was nice. But I have forgotten the point of what I was going to say because I forgot the fucking name of the place.
No, I've been cracking day.
Yeah. If you are travelling out of your way to go somewhere, the last thing you want to do is have your day sort of cut short. That was it, people nicking stuff. When I got there, so much of the main brief was mimicking the main brief that was put together by the previous guy that I worked on with Emil and then redid myself and then went through with Ben, who's now a business partner as Adventures, and then little bits the staff have put in. But you've got to get some decent jokes in there because it keeps people's attention. And I was recognising some of the same rules, that were particular to us kind of being brief, but then the jokes were literally the same shit that would come out of my mouth. And it was nice. Somebody would be pissed off by that, but it was nice because it showed that I had an impact, and the things that I was saying, they remembered things that I said because of that joke. A rule sticks in your mind because of something that came out of somebody else's face. And so it's good when something gets stolen. I've often stolen Matt Beddoes' games because Matt Beddoes' games are always fucking brilliant. They're absolute nonsense and they're fucking brilliant. So I've stolen his games. So often we go, right, we're doing the Matt game. Everyone knows what the Matt game is, And it's good to steal from other people because, if you do it well, you are showing respect to that person who created a brilliant game that's stuck in your mind. And the same with little jokes and little briefs and things you put together. Steal from everyone.
Did you nick the game off him that led to me being stuck in a dark room at the Mall cuddling a giant penis?
No, that was all me. That was a beautiful... We had this giant fucking penguin that was a prop from a cinema, from Happy Feet. I think it was a cinema. And it was a big Happy Feet penguin. It was like 6 foot tall. Well, inside it was this great big polystyrene. It looked just like a dildo, right? So I can't remember how or why, but it got set on fire or something like that. So we had this thing, and we stripped all the Happy Feet stuff off of it, and we just used it as a great big prop. And you tell one team, and that's you could just go find the dildo, and it's quite funny. Go find the big missile, that's all right. But if you tell one team, you've got to go and find... What the fuck is that? And so we'd have this great big, this giant thing. You tell one team, you've got to go and find the missile. But to move the missile, you've got to find the scientist to get the codes. Then you tell the other team, if you brief them separately, you tell the other team, right, my mum's giant greasy dildo is under the bed. But before you can do that, you've got to go and find her pimp. And then you've literally got one team running around going, where's the scientist? And another team running around going, where's his mum's pimp? And you've got this beautiful thing where neither team knows what the fuck is going on. They know what they've got to do, but they're confused by what the other team are doing. And it's those little things. And that would be the game you're thinking of. The Matt Billow game is basically where you pick a partner and you pick your own team name that has to be reasonably offensive and or rude or just distasteful generally. And when you are shot, you scream the team name. Someone comes running over to you, they tag you in, and they tell you the team that they've created, and then you've got 3 people on one team and 1 on that team, and eventually you've got people running around, shooting everyone, not knowing whose team is on, with people shouting fucking, "My captain's missing!" You know, all kinds of fucking nonsense. And those are the brilliant games that I like, because we don't have to stick to the military style of games. And people love the military shit, but I'd much rather be a bit of a plonker. So, you know, let's play plonker games as well as being serious. But you've got to have that mix of seriousness and a mix of absolute fucking anarchy. You've got to have both, otherwise the day is not memorable. I don't remember a single serious game I've ever played.
One thing I find as well is finding your local site, your regular site, is like trying to find your local pub. You might try a few until you find one with the right vibe, because as you said, there is the more military site, you know, the more mill city site. There's the speed stop site. There's the running around with your mates, having a laugh, shouting offensive words at each other. And it really is down to what you want to do, and it's finding it. Every site's different. There are sites I won't play at, so I really don't. I haven't enjoyed myself in any from start to finish. From booking in to going home, the whole experience has been rubbish. But they're full every week. So
and that's it. And there's probably nothing wrong with the games either. There's probably nothing wrong with the staff. It's just something didn't quite get you. You know. Yeah. It could be the best site on the planet, but if something doesn't quite gel, you know, because I've got a personality that I'm not even a Marmite character, because I do find that most people will think I'm funny, but you do get that person that will leave a review online that says, yeah, the guy just wanted to do his fucking stand-up comedy routine rather than the main brief, and it's like, yeah, but you were also a grumpy shit all day, so come on, play nice. I remember more happy things than I do bad things, you know, because that's kind of the way I see this stuff. But you go and play at a certain airsoft site and everything could be fucking beautiful, but you just don't get on with the way they do it.
Yeah.
So their games are flawless.
All the players that are there, you might not be in their vibe. You know, it's like walking into a pub and you just go, well, something about you don't enjoy it. I mean, again, to all going to go on other sites, I mean, the Mal's safety brief was legendary. Anything from like 20 minutes to 2 days long, depending on whose review you read.
I think my best was like 6.5 minutes or 12 minutes or something like that. But I had a clock going behind me. I took a deep breath and went, and the brief was done. And it worked well because it's a Thursday evening and the players are generally a bit more on point on a weekday evening. Yeah, you know, they just finished work and their brain is still engaged. On a Sunday, they're not so engaged, you know.
I remember at the time you were at the Mal, I was at Bristol Airsoft, which is similar site. Site, middle of a city, okay, like a fraction of the size. But our Sunday tended to be the people travelling. The weeknights tended to be the people that lived in the area. Because we open the doors at 6 and they had to be there in the centre of the city in time. So you tend to find it's your regulars who know to just shut up and listen.
Yeah, that's it. We had regulars on every single event, you know, but even now at Zedd, you know, we are almost seeing regular faces. There are people we recognise from the mall, but there's people we recognise. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I'm just getting messages.
Jimi Hendrix, is that you? What's that? Kill everyone? Okay. Basically, yeah, I mean, fuck it, I've lost it now. Yeah, we'd see the same faces week in, week out at the mall, and we'd recognise those faces and names on our briefing sheet. And anyone who's run an airsoft site, you know, you recognise their face and you know that person real well. And then you see their booking emails and you recognise that person real well. And at no point do you put that name on that face, you know? It just doesn't even begin. It's just, you meet someone called, you know, Frank, and it's like, you're 17 years old. Who calls their fucking kid Frank? What the fuck is going on? And you just recognise these people, and then you've got people who just they're starting to turn up at Zedd now, a bit, you know, I say now, obviously not now, but we started to get regular players, which is nice. And you want to build up a strength of regular players. But what you don't want is so many regular players that they you can get regular players that are not a credit to your site. They turn up and think they own the world. And that's annoying because they're nice enough people, but it's like, well, the decent regulars will take in the people who are not regulars and go, right, you know, come have fun. You know, and this is, we know what we're doing here. You haven't got to follow us at all. You can do it if you like. But, you know, if you want to lead, we'll follow you. And that's a good regular.
The problem with that, you get the guys that they're on their second game of Airsoft ever, watch the YouTube videos, and they're trying to lead the newbies, and it goes horribly wrong.
Well, you've also got the people who've been playing for so many years, and you see them, like, you're all stacked up on the doors, and they got their military tactics and a hand on the shoulder, and, you know, they're doing hand signals and shit, and they go, right, everyone push in, and no one moves apart from the newbies, you know? And then you realise that, generally speaking, the newbies are the better the players, you know? And you've got the regular players who are like, I ain't going through that fucking doorway. And then you've got the people who've seen a few military videos or used to be in the military or whatever, but they're not going through that door first because they're not getting fucked up. And I'm that guy. I am not going through that door because I'm going to get fucked up. I'll give encouragement to other people, but that's because I know what's going to happen on the other side of that fucking doorway, you know? I'll wait till the mayhem has stopped and I hear reloading. Then I'll just sort of mince through and try and sneak past.
I could see you mincing mid-game.
Everyone, when they think, see, Negative Airsoft fans don't see me as mincing. Anyone who's met me in real life, keep this in. Those little f***ing chaps on their little scooters go past. They're going to come back in a minute. Like, they've taken their little shitty mopeds and they bored out the inside of their fucking engines, and now they're on like 16 cc's of fucking mayhem. And they're going to come back in a minute like they drove past the day, nearly killed my wife, so I've gone out there all Bertie Big Bollocks, and one of them's almost run me over, and I realise I'm not as hard as a cunt with a moped. But honestly, why do you guys buy these little fucking mobiles? Why don't you do them? Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You know, you hit the age of fucking 16, I've got 3 hairs, it's not on top of my because they grow first. No, these are sprouting from my the last place where I get pubic hairs. I'm buying a moped and I'm going to be a wanker. I don't know what the fuck happens. And the thing is, you can't put little blue wanker lights like everyone else fucking does. You see the chavs in the fucking cars, right? Fucking put 50p in the arsehole, right? You see the little chavs in their wanker cars, you can hear them coming a mile off with their fucking music and the fucking ganja weed flying out the fucking windows, and they fly past. But you can see the little blue wanker lights. The police can find them. The shitheads on fucking mopeds, they put little blue wanker lights on their fucking vehicles, right, when they go flying past your fucking house in the middle of the fucking night, right? These little fuckers, if the police saw them, they think it was just, you know, those little kids' shoes, the flashing fucking lights in them. Yeah. They think that little kid is fucking peeled off his face, running with his feet spinning like a fucking Tex Avery cartoon. They wouldn't go anywhere near that. It's fucking aliens. Sorry, chavs. What was I saying?
I'm going to clip that.
Fucking hate them. Every fucking day. They're coming back in a minute.
What's your worst experience on an airsoft site? Don't name the site, for God's sake.
No, I don't do name and shame. It's not the right thing to do, because just because somebody has a bad day doesn't mean that, you know, they've done it wrong. I used to play a site, and I don't even remember what it's called, so I couldn't name it if I tried. It was an old military base, and it's not there anymore. All the way down the bottom. And it was a brilliant day, really, really good. And every time I played there with my friends, it was just awesome. I must have been 19 years old, maybe 20, and I'm fucking 40 next month. So basically, it was right around the time that people realised that you can buy airsoft parts to make your gun powerful. Because back then, no one chronoed anything at all. Like, chrono, it didn't exist, because if your gun did 300 feet per second, you know, people would gather around you. Like that one guy in the country that owned a chrono would turn up and he'd go, pop, 305. And you'd go, 305 feet per second? Fucking hell, that's amazing. But then people realised that you can just go to, I think it was Red Wolf, then Trinity at the time, those were the two, and you could just go and buy a kit and put this kit in your gun, and no one chronos, so no one cares, because that's how it was, you know, all those years back. And, you know, suddenly BBs were coming at you at a rate that you couldn't believe. Like, we had 2.5s or 0.2s. Most people use 0.2s. Rich people use 0.25s. And this guy's got 0.3s. And these 0.3s are coming at you, and you can't believe, like, you haven't snuck up on anybody because this guy's miles away. And then, obviously, we had never had LiPo technology, so it was always just, you could hear the gun powering up like a fucking Ghostbusters proton pack. You hear him go, and then BBs just fucking come at you, and you go, what the hell was that? And this guy had an M16A2, TM1, and he had an M65 pod on the front. I remember it so well because I was hiding behind some barrels and I'd just been shot out and I was grumpy. I was being a grumpy player that day. And I said to the marshal, can I go back in? I just want to get that guy. And the marshal was just one of those marshals that no one really respects. And that is the guy that goes, And so you go back in and he stuck the gun, like fucking bam, right there through the barrels at me. And it was this far from my face. And it turns out the kit he put in there was probably doing about 450 feet per second, point blank. And like to other countries, that's fine. But to us, that is fucking unheard of, especially then. And he hit me so hard in the face that I had to have stitches on the inside of my mouth, stereo strips on the outside, and my tooth turned round the fucking wrong way over the course of a couple of weeks. That was fucked up. Because at that point, when people said at the start of the day, that guy's gun, there's something wrong with that. Not like it's overpowered, because we didn't know that existed. It was like, there's something wrong with that guy's gun. Has he got like a Ford Fiesta suspension spring in there? You know? Because he couldn't do semi-auto because the gun couldn't manage it. But, you know, full auto, fucking off it would go. And that's what you say when each fucking round hit you. And yeah, I mean, I'm scarred now from that. Which is why I'm glad that every site is like fucking chronos, safety, know your specs, know what your gun is doing. It's up to you as the individual. And if we tell you your gun is too powerful, don't moan about it because this is your responsibility. Back then, didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And I've got a fucking dent in my face.
If you imagine that someone on their first game, you're not going to see him again. And this is where, you know, the whole...
I never went back. I played there 4 or 5 times. I never went back. I did go on Arnie's Airsoft. And I moaned. There's a picture of me pissing blood down my face. I don't think that post is archived anymore. I think if you went on the way back machine, you probably wouldn't find it there. But honestly, I was fuming. Absolutely fuming. And the guy around the place was like, and it's like, oh man, I had such a good time here. And I thought, I won't let it ruin my day. And I didn't go back. And now I wish that site, because now it's a fucking housing estate. But I didn't go back because of that, you know, even though I know it was a good site and that was just a thing that doesn't happen. Even then, even now, it just doesn't happen, you know, and it does ruin your day. So the people that moan that, oh yeah, their chrono's wrong. No, your gun was too hot. And it doesn't matter if their chrono's wrong. It doesn't matter if the site you're playing at, you know, if they're using a chrono that you know is a crap chrono, a fucking Garda Speedster or a Mad Bull chrono, it doesn't matter if it just literally gives you random readings. It's guessing what the BB might be coming out at. It's basically a glorified Coke can. And, you know, it creates this thing in your mind. And it pissed me off so much that I didn't go back. You know, it's just, don't moan when somebody's chrono doesn't agree to what the website says your gun should be firing at, because whatever they say, that's their responsibility. If their chrono is higher or lower, it doesn't matter. That's them, and that is them being diligent, and that's why you went home safe, because they were diligent as they could be, you know?
I mean, I've got 2, and I can't pick between them, and one of them's really minor, but you know those little things that ruin a really good day, and this particular...
they're called speed softers, aren't they? Yeah, I know what.
Fortunately, it was a Marshall. So we were at a site, it's kind of semi-CQB, it's got a bit of outdoor, it's got some buildings, and the head marshal briefed the most confusing game ever. And it was the defending team were live when they're in the buildings. When you got shot, you had to step out of a building. You could come spawn back in if you could step into a room that had no enemy in it. And it was quite confusing.
How would you know?
If you had so much, you only had a certain amount of time to get into the building. we had one guy left, and he said to the head marshal, so I can just step in there. And he was concerned because the next room had most of the enemy team with their back to him. And he went, yeah, step in, shoot them. And he stepped in, coughed, so they knew he was there, nailed them, and they complained. Head marshal gathered everyone together and said, no. Okay, it was the first time we played it. Game didn't really work, but he didn't cheat. He followed the rules. He checked with me. And it was all kind of cleared up. The players weren't happy, but they weren't pissed off with our mate. And we go back to the bit of the safe zone we were in. And one of the marshals kind of came in and he was doing that, you know, that thing when, you know, someone really wants to get someone off their chest and they're trying to build, you know, lots of swaying for hips. And I was like, well, sorry, mate, is there something you want? And he went, yeah, about what happened. And we're like, well, they've just cleared up that it was within the rules. He checked that it was fine. And the marshal's exact words were, but we have a rule here, don't be a dick. And it's like, are you calling him a dick? And he walked away and backed off. And the site refused to deal with the issue, refused an apology. And we'd been there 5 or 6 times and had great days. I've not gone back, and I'm in no rush to go back because it was all it took was that guy, them to say, look, we've had a word with him, we're really sorry, it's not, you know, and we'd have been fine. And the other one, it was, I said about the site I went to, and like kind of the whole experience was painful. They knew who I was, they knew I was running a rival site to them as they saw it. We weren't, it was a completely different site. They're an outdoor site, I was running a CQB site.
You get different regulars. You do get different regulars.
Yeah,
anyone that I know, they say, well, should we go play so-and-so site? Is it outside? Yeah, no, I'm not interested.
But there was a bit of crossover, but their players came to us on a weeknight. They played there Monday, they came to us on a weeknight. They knew who I was, and I booked in, and you could tell the person booking in was waiting for me. And they went from being really friendly in the way you'd expect to very officious. Yeah. And followed around by marshals all day, and the group I went with were all followed. I had a G28 at the time, and I took it with me. First time I'd taken it out. I don't know.
If you've got a G28, there's not a second time you take it out because the fucker's broken. But carry on.
No, actually, I took it back to Armex, who had the contract at the time, and made them fix it. Because it was the bit under
the... He didn't say, no, you're right, it broke. He went, yeah, fine.
They custom, it was the bit that went under the gearbox.
Yeah.
He fabricated it. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I just kept getting, I bet you can't do effing CQB with that. And they made me, through peer pressure, clear these little huts they had, shooting, double tapping people at point blank at 450 feet per second. It's made me feel like a dick. The guy that ran the shop, I was having a quick look at his stuff because I love a site shop. I love seeing what shit they sell on site. I just love. I've got to spend an hour rummaging through because that's where you find your gems. So you won't find anywhere else. That gun.
You go to a shop, you see the stuff they're trying to sell. You go to an on-site shop, even if they've got a bricks and mortar somewhere, it's like someone's going to buy this thing that I think is a load of shit. I've got 2 boxes down here full of shit. People look in that box and go, my God, you've got one of those. How much? Yeah. And I'm like, have it,
I'm going through. There was, I think it was a G3, a full-size, massive G3 thing. Something along those lines. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was quite big. And I was having a look at it, just because I hadn't seen one in a while, this particular model in a while. And he said, oh, do you like it? I said, to be honest, I tend to do more CQB. I tend to buy shorter guns. And he was like, oh, if you're more into CQB, the guy that runs the courts is here. And I went, oh, that's me. And he didn't listen to me. He went, hang on, I'll try and find him. And after another 2 times of trying to tell him that it was me, I thought, fuck it, let's see how long we can get this to last. And I swear to you, he spent 20 minutes going around the safe zone trying to find me to introduce me to myself. And there's all these players there that know me, and he's going, have you seen the guy from the courts? And I'm stood behind him just going like that. And they're looking really fucking confused, going, no. And it was just the most bizarre, and the whole day kind of went like that, where we were singled out. And the great thing about going to you guys, when we go to Dragon Valley, pretty much any other site, when they realise you're in the business, you get a bit of professional courtesy. I've had it where one of the guys I went with was playing up, and rather than kick him off site, you gave me an opportunity to rip a new one. And there's a bit of professional courtesy, which we didn't, and it really put me off. And it put off the was with, because we knew we were being singled out, we knew we were being, and there's just no, if I find out someone from another site, I go out of my way to make them welcome and to chat to them, and, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Marshals on their phone, you know. You go to a marshal and you say, yeah, I've got a problem, and sometimes you get a response that's really good, sometimes you get a response that's really bad, and we've all heard the reports, and I've seen it happen myself at so many sites. So-and-so is not taking their hits, they're doing this, and this. And I go, yeah, they like that.
Yes,
go, right. It's worse. They've got a phone in their hand. It's like, put your phone down, dude. Put your phone down. But I've had it as well, where I've gone to one of my staff and gone, put your phone down. Because I try and remind people, you know, it's the GoPro era. Everyone's filming everything for YouTube. So they want to be important. And if something really good happens, they might share it. If something really bad happens, you're famous. Yeah. And that's the end of it. So put your fucking phone down. I've gone to my staff and gone, you know, don't have your phone out. I understand, I get it, all right, but don't have your phone out. And he's basically gone, I'm actually taking down this guy. The guy phoned him because he knows he was all right. We've got a guy downstairs in this room. I don't know where I am, but this has happened and blah, 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 blah. And he's on the phone listening to it. And he's literally jotting down the details. And I was like, yep, fair. Walk away, you know. So don't judge it on what you see, but I can't imagine that's ever happened another time, you know, ever.
Talking about my issue with marshals, the one thing I hate, and I marshals only ever get one warning from it with me, carrying pistols to hit.
Oh yeah, don't. Oh yeah, I'll just check that player. No, you're not. You're being a wiener.
Yeah,
I don't appreciate that. It's just okay. I can see what someone's doing by going over there. Why do you wait for a problem to occur and reoccur, you know, and then try and cause a further problem that they can retaliate to, when you could just go and stand near a problem player, and you know when a problem player is being a problem player and it's not just a bullshit complaint, because you go stand near them and they're not acting perfectly. They go, are you following me? And that response means that, oh, busted, you know.
I was there was a marshal carrying a CO2 pistol, shooting people at close range and sending them back to respawn. So I engaged him.
Yeah,
I'm done. They're in the game. The he goes and speaks to the head marshal, who comes shouting at me. You're shooting my marshal, so I wasn't. I shot a player. He's wearing a high vis. He's a marshal, so he drew a pistol. He was shooting my team, sending them back to respawn, thinking it's funny. No, he's a player. I got free lunch for it, so it was worthwhile.
Oh, come on. You'll suck off a hobo for a free lunch. Come on now. Jesus Christ. Come on. But no, you get that. You get that quite frequently. You get people who, and we had it at a site. It was a day that I actually didn't go with the guys because I'm so busy. I do airsoft every single day. So when there's a chance on a Sunday, do you want to go play airsoft? It's like, oh, mate, no, I might not actually, because I do it all day, every day, you know?
Yeah.
So, but they say, you know, there was a time that this guy would just, somebody said that one of our guys said, oh yeah, he's in there, he's not taking his hits. And my guy just literally, he walked in the room after the event. He overheard the conversation as he walked in the room. And he walked around the marshal and the player, went into the room, he regen back in, I think is what happened, and basically, the marshal came and put a pistol through the window and capped him in the back of the head or something, point blank, to see if he was taking his hits. And the marshal's response was that, you know, well, that's okay if that happens, you know, and you do take a hit, we put you back in the game. It's like, you just shot me in the back of the head, point blank. What's wrong with you? And this is somebody who's such a playful little puppy. You know, he's not, he's tall, but he's such a little puppy dog. And he was fuming. It's like, why would you do that? You know, you don't need to... Imagine the police did that, you know? Let's find out if this person really is robbing houses. Let's go in there and break his skull, you know? It's like, what? No, it doesn't make any sense. You know, just monitor the situation. Be a presence, you know? A security officer, you go to a shop and there's a security guard there, you know, they're not a security guard, they're a loss prevention officer. The job is not to, if somebody might be stealing, there's a smackhead, hide and wait for them to do it. Well, that smackhead's probably got no fucking money. You can't sue them. You just fucking ban them. You know, you just have the police make sure they don't go back in there. And that's the end of it. You're not allowed to go back in fucking Argos or whatever. And so a loss prevention officer, you stand there and go, I'm right here, so you can't steal anything. And they're going to go, no, in your face. And you go, yep, fine. And they leave, and you prevented a loss. It's the same with the marshal. You maintain a presence.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
This comes down to the screaming and shouting from marshals. It's another real... I don't pay money to go to a site and be shouted at. I think the only time you warrant really shouting, someone removes their iPro in the game area.
Oh, yeah.
Opposed
to... emergency situation warrants a response that everyone can react to.
Yes. You know, saying, excuse me, sir, would you awfully mind putting on your... They've lost their eyes by the time you finish. Shouting, eye protection.
If everyone's gobbling off and screaming the whole time, you don't know what is really an actual emergency. You know?
Not taking it. The thing is, someone's not taking it. It's a weird... You have to treat them as an adult. Talk to them. Because one thing, you know, you must have learned, you know, I've been in airsoft 20 years, you've probably been in about 40.
Keep that in. 20
have you ever met an airsofter that's missed a target? They're all snipers.
Oh, no, never.
No. And you go,
no, they're brilliant, mate. They've got the best gun.
Yeah, I hit him. He's 200 metres away, and he's running. No, you didn't. And there's a strong wind. You fucking didn't. You know, and I've seen people. I've actually been called over. One of the great things with the courts is that they've actually got old bars, and I've actually been told I'm shooting him straight in the face. I've gone over next to the guy, and they are hitting the bar in front of his face every time.
I've got the exact same example. You know, if you're inside a building, it is kind of easier. You know, because it is annoying. You know that you're shooting. Even I've had it. I'm shooting through those shrubs. I know the BBs are hitting him, but I can't prove it. So what are you going to do? But when someone goes, I've shot that guy fucking 20 times, he's not taking his hits. And it's like, well, hang on a second, you know. Okay, you listen, and you stand next to the guy, and the guy's like, is he complaining again? And you go, carry on, mate, carry on playing. And you can hear the zip, 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 zip. And then you hear zip, zip. Ah, that's a hit. That's a hit. But when you can hear they stand next to fucking corrugated steel and you hear zip, 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 it's like, right, one of those definitely hit you, mate, you know? Unless you're wearing a fucking drum kit, all right? So probably regen Lars, all right? Off you go, you know?
You have unique issues, and it was always a huge amount of fun watching people screaming at someone for not taking their hits and then realise they shoot.
Yeah,
that was always good fun. Or shooting at
just a couple of doors with little glass portholes in, and it's nice the staff get to go, oh god, it's not oh shoot the fucking windows again. Now it's like, let's go stand by the only glass windows. This is going to be brilliant, you know. It's nice that way.
Yeah, players brilliant. Got to love them. But I mean, it's coming out. I mean, the key thing. Like, sorry, there's something you said when we interviewed you at the end of the match. It's the people, right from it's the marshals, it's the whole team, and it's the play. It's stuck in my head because it's one of those things which is like you made it so simple in terms of the players decide if they're going to have a good day or not, which is 99% true. I mean, if you go to a site and that is totally run like a bag of shite, it can ruin your enjoyment. Yeah. But if it does what they're meant to do, which most of them do, it is down to you. Because I've had bad days where I've just not been in the mood and I probably should have stayed in bed. But I'm going with a group of mates. I might have been the driver. I don't want to let people down. But I really should have stayed in bed. But I'm at the point probably the same as you, where I've been working in it for so long. Actually, I sometimes prefer the social. I love NAE, and this is a really controversial statement. I love NAE, but I like it for the social.
That's what everyone says. That's what everyone says, though. I've not been there in probably 15 years, what the fuck it was. Like, and it was, I had a perfectly good time, but I saw it as a festival. Like, you know, if someone says, hey, do you want to go see fucking Static X or Cradle of Filth or whatever for one night, I go, yeah, I'm in. If someone goes, do you want to go stand in the field for 3 days? No, I really don't. I don't care who it is. And like, if they come back from the dead, I'm not interested. I'm not doing it for 3 days. I'll be a grumpy twat. I won't enjoy it. So when I did it, it was like I went for 1 day. I'll see you tomorrow. No, you won't. Oh, you have a shit time. It was perfectly fine, but it's just not for me. I won't do that for 3 days. I don't sleep rough, you know? I want the fucking bed.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the last time we went, we certainly didn't rough it. We took a generator with us. We took a mobile bar. We actually had Amstel on tap at our tent. You know, when it was about 10, 12 of us. Which again, this is what makes airsoft. I mean, we're just going back to hit taking. I learned
if you're pissed, you don't know your hit.
Well, yeah. It was running.
I've never got my head around that. How can they have? Because everyone says it. Yeah, you have a few drinks, play some airsoft, and it's like, hang on, I'll stop you there. What? Like you are not allowed to do those two things. How do they get around that? I've never really looked into it either. Carry
on. Yeah, it's got a hit taken. I mean, it dawned on me when I started kind of running events is. It stopped bothering me if I'm shooting someone and not taking their hits. Fuck them, just move on, go somewhere else. I just don't know why. I'm not letting these people ruin my day. I have seen people spend £25 and rage quit after the first game and lose their £25.
Yeah, and it is a loss, isn't it? Because, you know, people say, you know, don't fucking take their hits, shoot them again. But there's sometimes maliciousness in that. But I maintain, well, if you shot somebody, you know you hit them, shoot them again. Give them 5 minutes. Because they're clearly an easy target, and you can move around the place and they're going to be an easy target somewhere else. You haven't got to be upset. You can giggle to yourself like, what a dick. You know, he's got no idea of his surroundings, and I can literally walk around him and just pop a BB in the back of his calf and go, oopsie doodle, and carry on my day. And it's kind of an enjoyment thing. You know, you're not being an arsehole to the guy, and a lot of times they don't know their hit. I was telling Chris from A2 Supplies the other day, you know, when you're a kid, you do stupid shit. And when I was probably 18, I reckon I was 17, 18, I was working for Firefight Reading, and my brother, who's 5 years younger than me, so, you know, younger teenager, we had this little thing that we'd do, and no one ever knew that we did it. And that is, back then, you only had, if you wanted a bolt-action rifle, you had an APS-2, and that was it. There's nothing else you could have. There's no power limits. And when you've got these guns that don't have any fucking hop-up, you've got to run 700 feet per second to get any range. But when you fire these things, it's like everyone knows you fired it, you know? So what you do is my brother would spend 10 or 15 minutes crawling through the undergrowth, he's little, and he'd sit right behind a bush where the enemy player's the other side of the bush. And what I'd do is I'd cock the gun and I'd fire it, and he'd wait a few seconds and throw a BB over the bush. I'm going, that was a good shot. And I'm sat there going, I shot the floor. This is fucking brilliant. How to be a cunt without really being a cunt. 2-man team. That is a sniper team, you know? Wait a few seconds, throw a BB over a bush, and someone goes, I think I'm hit. Fucking brilliant. Do it. It's so much fun. It ruins their day, but it's harmless fun. It really is harmless. So make sure you've got a younger teenager with you.
There's a guy who used to play at the courts, a really nice guy. He will watch this, so I'm going to change his name to Radam Kesey. That doesn't sound like Adam Kesey at all.
Yeah.
First of all, he actually...
Here they fucking go again. Do you hear them again? The little shits. We've been round the block on our wanker mobiles. Fuck off.
The guy absolutely hated pyro. So we had him on this game. He was the last person alive on his team, and it was attacking team had unlimited lives, defending team had 1 life. Last guy alive, and he was in a room, and it was Feezy, and he went, what? And I went, what's 3 inches long and goes boom? And he went, what? And 6 BFGs went into the room at him, and he just walked out. You. I also I had some tag rounds, and I thought it'd be funny to launch one down a corridor at him, which was highly dangerous but extremely hilarious. We only done that once, and I realised quite how bad they were. And that probably was the best interaction I ever had with him. It was a really quiet night, and I marshalled and played because there was 7 players and me, so I'm 4 aside, and I only had pistols with me. And CQB, I really like using pistols. And it was just one of those nights where no matter where I shot, the BB found the left eyepiece on his eye protection, to the point I had the H&K USP match, which is a really nice pistol. It shoots like a beast. And someone said, "What? Oh, how does it fire?" And I went, "Well, watch this." Shot into a dark space. And he got hit so many times from me, stopped shouting hit, and all you heard from the darkness was, "Wheeler, you cunt!" Which we then accepted as hit. And he walked out, and I swear the mesh bit of his eye protection was just hanging. Because it had taken so many hits that night, it had just...
That raises a good point as well. Like, you know, how many times have you seen people, they take a hit in the eye pro and they go, "Fuck," and you go, "Wow, and they go, "Well, yeah, I'm really glad I was wearing these, you know. I can see why you're so arsey about people wearing their eye pro." And you go, "Yeah." And they carry on playing, and in your back of your mind, you're like, do we demand that every player takes 2 pairs out? Because you can get some real damage in a set of eye pro, you know. 1 or 2 shots in the same place, you know. I don't fancy it, personally.
Doesn't matter how good your eye pro is, it can always fail. It can always get knocked out.
Yeah.
But one thing they've done at the courts, which actually I think for CQB actually was quite... A lot of people got pissed off with it, but it was not a bad rule. Eye protection had to be full seal. You know the glasses, and they've got like
I remember people moaning about it, but it's like, well, it's fogging up. And it's like, yeah, but they're looking after your best interest, and they're causing you frustration and possibly causing a bad bit of name for themselves because they're looking out for your best interests. So shut the fuck up. You know, they don't want you to get hurt. It's their reputation. It's the rest of your life. Just wear it. If that's the rules, wear it. End of. Well, I've got to wear my glasses. I'm sure you do, bud. Find a way around it.
Yeah,
you know, they're looking after you.
If you go to your optician, they will do you shooting glasses with insets. As you can see, my eyes are broken. I wear glasses. I bought a Dye Eye 4 because they both...
I don't think they're broken. I just think they're really too close together.
Probably. So I bought myself a Dye Eye 4 mask.
Can you say crumbs?
Crumbs!
Carry on.
And I put the Dye Eye 4 on and tried it on. First time I got it, thought I'll wear it with my glasses. And in fairness, the mask didn't fog up. Fucking glasses did.
Oh, yeah.
Ran the length of Strike Force, 14 kill streak. It wasn't until I got to the other end of the building I realised I shot my entire team. All I could make out was shapes.
Here goes Moley again.
Honestly, I'm blaming it. It was the
with
best.
his big pointy hands. Fucking bad kill. Your high fives are proper high fives, aren't they? But it's okay because you're all the way underground. When he's so good for this whole thing, give me that one.
Well, best site you've been to that isn't yours? Come on.
I really like South Coast CQB. I do. I like it. I like the mixture of the indoor and outdoor. It's not too big. I can't get lost. If it's rainy, I can try and find a way to get inside. If it's too hot, I can find a way to get outside. I like it. I like South Coast CQB.
I've got 2. The Mal was one of mine. I haven't tried Dead March, so I can't possibly comment, but I will do when I get some time off.
Out of lockdown, yeah.
Yeah, well, out of lockdown, our site will open, which we'll have to sort something out and do to and fro. Get your marshals down.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I want to try and get something going on whereby we do get to swap over a little bit.
Yeah,
just bring people in who wouldn't normally get the chance.
We'll talk offline because it's certainly something we'll do. But the other one, Humber Airsoft, I don't know if you've been there. It's up in Hull.
No.
And we went there. It was a Pilgrim Bandits charity event. And I think it's a great site in its own right, but I think it might have been the event really helped. So it's a quarry, and in the middle of this quarry there is a fire base built out of I can't remember the correct term, like those wire baskets the military use, and they kind of fill them with rock, and you go, that's a wall. You see them in like Camp Bastion.
But I'll say yes.
If you look at pictures like Camp Bastion in Afghanistan, it's They literally, it's like wire baskets, and they just fill them with shit.
Okay.
And it was brilliant. And we were raising money for the Pilgrim Bandits, and the whole day it was story sim. So it wasn't mil sim. It was a series of skirmishes following a storyline, which led to the final attack, where the Pilgrims, who were playing the role of the SAS, were in this bunker, and us lot, the bandits, attacked it. And I bought an obscene amount of tag rounds for an event that said we could use tag rounds, and then stopped us. And I had about 7 boxes of them stacked up. So we sat on a hill. There was like four of us that took tag rounds, launching tag rounds in, and then we've got all of our guys chucking smoking and pyro. Herman Mock filmed it, and it looked like one of those clips you get on the news, those shaky camera clips of an. Apparently the guys inside, ears were ringing, but they loved it because it was just bangs going off everywhere, and then we had to get into the bloody thing. And but the site was amazing, the people were amazing. It's just, I really like the unique sites, and it's nothing, someone who's got a bit of woodland and done the same as everyone else, because they can still. I like going somewhere. We went to Urban Assault back when you could use pyro, and I think it's shut now, isn't it, in Peterborough?
I don't know. I just don't know.
I went there early on. I can't even pick a one favourite, because like you said, I've had such great memories at each of them.
I loved Electroworks. It was just so unique. I loved Electroworks. It was just having to get buses and fucking trains and tubes to get there, knowing you've got to leave half an hour early, otherwise you won't get home. That was the only thing that put me off, But, there was a couple of players there who were just dicks. Everyone was like, no, these guys, they don't take their hits, they don't do this, they don't do this. But you know what? They're pretty funny. And they were very funny. Like, they walk in and go, I'm not taking my hits. And you go, all right. And it was amusing as fuck. And I really enjoyed playing the Electroworks. I really, really miss playing there. That's a place I miss playing. And that's where I realised I preferred CPB.
I had a guy accused me of not taking my hits when I joined in the game, the courts, and he gave it all, fuck, not even a fucking marshals take their hits. And was like, mate, you really need to put a mag on. The game, and he didn't have a mag.
We had people fight. We had one guy, he ran around as a private event, he ran around inside Peacocks, round and round and round. He shot everyone, and he had a tantrum. He had no mag in his gun. His own team was saying, dude, there's no mag in your gun. And he had such a tantrum, he took the G-Face, his rental gun, and fucking launched it at somebody. And it was that point we were like, that's it, your event is over. Not just your whole event is now fucking done. That's the end of it. We're not going to have that. And people are getting irate with you. We can taste it in the air. Your event is done. And that's a fucking shame. You can consider that's a little mean, but it's like, well, we had a few little things. It was a good enough day or evening on a Saturday night, but then too many people started acting up, and this one guy just took it too far, and it's like, do you know what? I don't think you guys are having fun anymore, and I'm not going to let this go on any longer. It's not happening. Not happening. And it wasn't me that dealt with the issue, it was somebody else who dealt with the issue. I think it was Hayden who dealt with the issue at the time. And it's just like, it's just fucking bollocksy. Don't ruin the day. You've got to think, don't ruin the day for somebody else. Even I've gone, this is a really crap day. It's just a crap day. I'm not having fun. But you just have to pull it together and go, other people are having fun. They're having fun at my expense. They're having fun. I'm just not feeling it. So I've got to think about the other people. And that's what it's about. You've got to think about the other people who are playing around you. And again, because Zedmar it's just as close as the mall in places. It's a bit more kill housey in places, but it's got that mall vibe about it. But it's nowhere near as big. So we can only fit a certain amount of players in there. But it doesn't matter, because there's always ferocious firefights in the CKB environment, because it is still, you might have 100 players at the mall with 250,000 square feet. We haven't got anywhere near that. So we've got 30 players. And these 30 players inside the smaller environment make these fucking colossal firefights. And it just reminded me how much I do prefer watching and marshalling and enjoying the banter to what I do playing. I like building the guns, I like having the cool collection, I like working at people's guns, but I like working it. I enjoy, because no one's really going to shoot at you deliberately, and you get to enjoy, if somebody does something really cool, you can say, that was really cool, and you go and tell the guy who's a bit grumpy, he's got shot out, he's like, no, that guy was fucking amazing. It's a miracle he got you. It was brilliant. We had a guy who just, at the mall, he just, outside the back of the safe zone, he's reloading. He's one of these people who was just, he's got all the expensive stuff. And he's got his Tanaka revolver, his Colt fucking 45 cowboy gun, SAA down in his holster. And this guy came around the corner, as he's reloading, he's in the hole, pop out, drop the mag, next mag in, close the bolt, clack, clack, clack. And he's being super duper tactical. As he's reloading, we're just watching like, you really are just showing off. You're not hitting anyone. You are a pots. Like, keep it to myself. And as an enemy player came around the corner, the guy just dropped his mag, saw the guy, put the gun over his shoulder, and just pulled his SAA out, propped it with his thumb, fired one shot, spun it, put it back in his holster, and then reloaded his AR-15. And I've just gone, yeah, all right, fair enough. That is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. You're still a pont, but that was fucking good. That was fucking brilliant.
I see yours, and I raise you. A guy out of ammo being chased by a team, runs around a corner, sticks a dildo to the wall, and the next player to run round heads straight into it and took it as a...
We had some. There was one time I managed to throw a fucking strap on. One of the suction ones. Yeah. I managed to throw it across the room, and it stuck to a glass shop front. Right? And we say, don't throw them. But it's like, no one was playing. It was in the middle of a brief, so I stuck it to the wall. Well, I was in the game and I ran. I think it was Shane, whose name is now Lucifer, ran, right? And obviously, you could consider this cheating if you want to. I guess it is. He's a dead player, right? I'm out of ammo, and I'm running up behind him, and he's on the same team as me. He's dead, but he's got his dildo out, and he's stuck it to the glass. And as he's stuck it, I run across, grab this dildo off the fucking glass, turn around, and fucking is the only knife kill I've got in my life, or melee kill, whatever you want to call it, lark kill. It made this beautiful sound as I pulled it off the glass and turned around and stabbed the guy in the chest with dildo. And the guy was like, well, that's unfair, isn't it? It just put back to regen, and I was like, that's pretty unfair, but I'm very proud of myself.
I'll leave it. One of the things that when you're briefing, you dread is anyone got any melee weapons, and like the Fomax, and then what is now the guy actually now marshals for me held up the biggest dildo I've seen in my life. This thing was fucking huge. It was a monster, and it was like, mate, there's kids, you can't use it, and like the dads are doing everything they can to keep their kids facing forward. And, like, you can't. Why not? You can't hit a 13-year-old with a sex toy. You can't do it. We made him put it away, and he just put it in his ammo pouch. And he's running around, and all I can see with this little pair of bollocks hanging over the top of the pouch.
You've got to think of other people around you, but I made it very, very clear. Like, this is an adult environment, and we do allow 13 or older people to be here, but understand that I'm going to treat you the same as I would do an adult, but I will be as least appropriate as I feel is correct in that situation. So there was a guy there. I've got to meet a customer in a second. There was a guy there, and he had both his kids. It was the mother and father had both their kids there. Right, the first time they played, and they did become regular players, and they're just normal. You just seem that they're just people you'd see in fucking Asda. Just mum and dad were there with their two kids, right? And I just turned around. The game involved drugs and sex toys and things. And everyone, a few of the staff were like, I don't know. And I was like, it's okay, I'll brief the game, I'll brief it. And in the middle of the brief, I turned around these two boys, one was 14, one was 13. I turned to 13-year-old, did the whole lean down with your hands on your legs. You get really close and go, so, buddy, what do you prefer, cocaine or heroin? Which is better, right? And this boy didn't even look at his mum and dad. He went, heroin's cheaper, isn't it? Cocaine's better. And I was like, fucking bang on, fist bump, carry on, right? And the parents were like, fucking doink. What the fuck just happened? And then for the rest of the day, they became regulars after that. It was like, they just included our children. It was wrong. And now I know something about my children that I didn't know before today, but I've just fucking learned something. And you know what? everyone's included. I'm not going to leave somebody out of the joke, you know, just because they look a certain way or they dressed a certain way, or, you know, everyone is going to be the butt of my joke. And I made this kid's parents, like when you you get kids who are like, oh, I'm hit now, and they're there with their parents. And so you do a game, you go, right, instead of saying hit, you've got to shout big greasy dog dicks, right? And you get these kids running around when they're with their parents, they go, and as if the parents not there, big greasy dog dicks. Brilliant. That's how you play airsoft. And yeah, the parents know that you're not being an arsehole, you're just including them. You know, you don't fucking single them out. So you do something really stupid that makes kids laugh. Because the same shit that makes a 5-year-old laugh, if someone cuts a fart in primary school, it's funny. If I cut a fart being 40 years old at work, it's funny. You know, you don't kind of grow out of that, and you shouldn't grow out of that. So you make sure you include people, you know? Include them.
Inclusion, I've seen. I think this would be a really good note to end on. We had a private event at the mall on a Saturday evening. And me and you were walking outside because I needed a phone signal to ring back to the boss to sort something out for you. And as we were walking out, one of our regulars had his back to us and went, oh, I hope the marshal's here, I've got a sense of humour. He turned round, you nipple wrenched both his nipples, went, yoink! And just everyone burst out laughing, apart from this utterly shell-shocked ginger guy who did.
I don't remember that at all. I've got no recollection of that. Nothing.
Yeah, that was when you done the safety brief holding my hand.
That I remember. But to be fair, I was frequently holding your hand.
Yeah.
You get the same when you go to restaurants and order soup, I'm sure, but if someone's got to hold his hand, he's going to get fucking hurt, you know?
They normally make me wear armbands if I order soup so I don't drown.
I think you went the Family Guy quote. I was smart.
Yeah.
Who's that bloke in the fucking blue top? Because he's done fuck all.
I'm the producer.
Oh, right, got it.
Thank you very much. We will wrap things up there, and make sure to take a listen and comment if you've liked it. Drop a like and stuff like that. Thank you very much, Luke, for coming on.
Zedd Adventures and shit. If you guys could mention Zedd Adventures, Zedd Mark for me, that'd be useful.
Of course.
We do want to get people because we can only get 30 people at a time.
Yeah, we'll make sure we got a link to your website, etc.
Yeah, and this episode should go up in a couple of weeks. So
cool, sweet.